Hey guys, so this is Paul again for Build a Cure, Play Test It Forward. In this video, we're going to just go over quickly how you deal out the cards for a regular game. So the first thing you want to do is just shuffle up the disease deck. And so once that's good and gone, then you'll want to get the resource deck ready. So if you guys have ever played games where you're going to have kind of action cards that tell you to pull from a different pile, this will make a little bit more sense to you than others. So when you shuffle up the resource cards, you want to split them roughly into 3 separate piles. And what I usually say is the biggest one, kind of put that in the middle. There are 10 disease cards. So what you want to do is put 3, 4, and 3, with 4 being in the biggest pile that you may have pulled out. So next you can put the disease cards on top and just shuffle them in. And same example for the middle deck. And for the last one. And this way it will distribute them evenly. Because basically those disease cards are the really negative things that happen in the game. Next you'll want to put the 4 in the middle and the 3 on top. So that way it's a pretty even spread throughout the whole deck as you're dealing them out. Next you'll want to start with the person left of the dealer. You'll want to flip over one of these cards as you go along. So we'll say we're just playing with 3 people, so we flip over there. And so in this case, it's really good. The first person to get a disease card, which has, the compound at the bottom, is going to be, the first one assigned out. There needs to be 1 disease assigned out before you start playing the game at all. So the first person would have avian influenza, so we can stop there. We don't have to reshuffle. If you did not get avian influenza first, and you got a symptom card, then you would keep dealing out until the first person got a disease. So we'll go ahead and bring these back in, and we'll say that this disease was assigned first. So that gets pushed over to their hand, and this will be the disease deck draw pile. Next, you'll deal out 5 cards, each from the resource deck. And then you will have a resource draw pile. And you can spread them out a little bit more. It's mainly just for this video that we're bringing everything closely together. And everything is played open hand, so you can go ahead and spread the hands out and see what you got. And what I'm looking for here is if there's any disease cards that are given to individuals. So there's 1 there. We'll see if there's any on this hand. And there are not. Okay, so basically from here you would start with left of dealer, and if they have a disease card, then they need to exchange that for a disease card. So we'll go ahead and move these decks elsewhere. And there will be a resource discard pile and an element discard pile for the resource deck. So if this were to be discarded, it would be separate. This is a resource, this is an element, and so on and so forth. So we'll go ahead and exchange this out for a disease card, and we'll see the second player got arsenic poisoning. So that'll be assigned out to them as well. And if you notice on the top of these cards, you will have negative effects that will then be put on that player. So this player can now only have 4 cards as their card limit instead of 5. And the owner cannot use bond cards, which is extremely unfortunate. Please fix this as soon as possible if you have it. So that would be the way that you start the game. From there you want to start applying the elements onto the disease and then bonding them. But we will go over that a little bit more in the other video. This just kind of gives you a good idea of how to get started. Thanks, guys.